and welcome to Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I'm going to be harvesting my garlic and do the first harvest of my potatoes. So we'll see what how they've been growing this season. But first we'll start with the garlic. So I've got my two beds here, which I had the cloches over with the EnviroMesh to try and keep out that allium leaf miner. So it'll be great to see if that's actually worked. And then I've also got some garlic in tubs at the bottom of my garden. They were just spare ones that the garlic took so long to come through last October that I didn't think it had worked. So I planted some in pots just to make sure. And now, of course, they've all come through. So I've also interplanted these two beds, this one with sprouts and this one with tomatoes. So I need to be fairly careful when I'm taking out the garlic bulbs, not to interfere with the plants that are going to go on and grow. So let me stop waffling and let's get on with seeing what these garlic are going to be like. Right, here we go then, the first one. These are from saved bulbs last year. That's pretty good size. They do need to do a bit of drying out because they are quite wet underneath. So far, I'm very happy with these. I also have some lettuce here, so we'll take this lettuce as well because this little gem is ready now. And I did put a lot of lettuce in this bed, but only this one has grown. The rest must have either got eaten by slugs or just didn't grow. Here is the garlic harvest from the beds. There's some good size ones here, and then where's the other one? They're sort of like a bit smaller, but this bed has produced quite a lot of decent size garlics, whereas the other bed, which has exactly the same homemade compost and everything, some of the cloves are a bit smaller, like more of them are smaller, if that makes sense, compared to the other bed. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but this one I'll have to use up quite soon because I accidentally skewered that with the fork. I mean, there are still some good ones, good big ones in, but some of them are a bit smaller. So anyway, I've taken all of them out of this bed now. I'm going to plant leeks in this bed where I've put them. If you look really hard with a magnifying glass, you can see some tiny, tiny sprout plants here. Look at that one. It's absolutely ridiculous. Which have been in for probably about a month now. This side is a bit better. So not quite sure why they're not really getting going. But I have got in here some spares, and I am debating whether to take out those two really tiny ones and replace them with these larger spares, and I will keep these ones. I'll just grow them on in pots just to see if we get anything from them. And then down here I'm going to sow some carrots. So in this bed will be leeks, cabbages and carrots, because I'll be keeping the cloche on this bed. I'll be replacing it with a higher one at some point, but not straight away because I haven't built it. And this one will be staying uncovered, so I'll be moving this cloche to put over my Swedes, which I haven't planted yet. And on this side here, I'm gonna direct sow some beetroot down here, and then I've got lettuces to go in here and some marigolds, and they're just soaking in this tray because I left them dry out a bit too much. But this is Celtis, so the Celtis will be going in there, and then the marigolds will be dotted in and around where they're going to be. So I'll crack on and get that done, and then we can go and have a look at the other garlic in pots. Well, that's that garlic sorted out and those 2 beds planted up. So let's go and have a look at this container garlic that's grown in these pots down here. Right, these are the pots. This is what we've got. Let's set you up on a tripod and see what the sizes are like. So what do we have here? Will it be as good as the garlic from the ground or not? Let's have a look. Oh, not too bad. Oh, quite a good size actually. If I'd have paused it and showed you, you might have been able to see. But I'm obviously in a bit of a rush to get all this garlic out. So the second one's looking good. They are a bit smaller by the look of it than the ones from the ground, but that is to be expected in pots. And how I grew this was to put some bone meal into some used compost. So I mixed half fresh compost, half used compost with some bone meal, and then added the garlic in October time, I think. And then I was going to add some more bloodfish and bone as the season went on, but I just didn't get round to doing it. But they've grown fine without it. And this is the garlic harvest from the pots. Again, they are some good sizes actually. Some that have not not split, but the skin has come away. But the majority of them are looking rather good. So hopefully we'll have enough garlic to keep us going until next year. Some of that garlic I'm going to put in my dehydrator to make garlic powder, and some I'll make some lazy garlic out of, and then the rest we'll store and use up as and when we need them. Right, let's go and see what my first early potatoes are going to be like. Here I am by the potatoes. This is the first potato harvest of this year. So let's see what we've got in these beds. This variety is Swift, and they're looking good, looking a decent size. I think it's the rain we've had, although some of them have got a bit of a crater in them. So this was from one plant. I think we'll unearth a couple more and see what we've got after maybe 4 plants. So what I usually find when I'm pulling out potato plants is if I slowly pull them, they do tend to come out in one go, as it were, and there are less chances of potatoes being stuck in the ground. So that's why I'm sort of pulling it quite slowly to try to release the potatoes that are there. And there was a big sized potato. I was quite pleased with that one. And they have been quite variable, these ones. There's another one there. Oh, and another one. Exciting stuff here, isn't it, eh? Blimey. Always best to have like a good old rummage around if you can to see if there's any ones in there, because you don't want to leave any in the ground, because then they produce volunteer ones the next year. And I think while I'm here I might as well do a bit of weeding. I'm sure you all want to see me doing some weeding, don't you? Come on, Beth, and let's get on to the next plant. Never mind all this blinking weeding. Ah, that's better. On to the next plant. Now, you've set up the shot nicely there, and then decide to wander into frame. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's right, I've set it up on the wrong plant. So the third plant I'm unearthing is here, which is slightly out of shot. So we'll just skip on to the fourth one, shall we? Unless, of course, you want to see a lot of my shoulder and my hair. No, come on, let's skip on. Come on, Beth, and move on. Yes, I'm sorry about that rather embarrassing misshot, but here we are now, getting out the fourth plant, pulling out those potatoes. Can you stand any more of this excitement? I don't think I can. So let's skip forward and see what we end up with. So after 4 plants, this is what we've got. There's some real whoppers in here. Some of them have got a bit of a crevice in them. That's, I think, where it's been so wet. And there's 2 here that have got massive craters in them, which we're not going to eat them because they're full of bugs. So they can just go straight onto the compost. But the majority of them are okay. That one will be fine. I can just, cut a V into there and remove the bad bit. So yeah, that's not too bad. I'm quite happy with that. It will be interesting to see what the flavour of these potatoes are, whether they've absorbed too much water and then they're a bit bland, as it were, or whether they're big and tasty. I'll let you know how it goes. And in previous years, I feel like we had more potatoes, but not so big, if that makes sense. So overall, we've probably had the same harvest as we normally would. It's just we've had some massive ones rather than sort of a lot of these size ones. So yeah, interesting. Right, I need to show you some of my onions because the ones that I bought from set have bolted and the ones that I planted from seed are still going strong. So let me show you what we've got. Here are some of my onions. The variety is Snowball, and I have been growing these in pots over the winter and they were doing really well, but now they have all bolted. And I find this with sets. I don't know if it's that we tend to be more drier in this area, but seed definitely seems to do better for me. I'll show you a few of the onion that I've got growing from seed, and you can see that they are really going strong compared to these ones that that have bolted. So I'm going to harvest these now and I'll use them. I've been cooking over the next couple of weeks because they won't store very well with the centre being very thick. So yes, I did have sets off a neighbour last year. They were red ones and I planted them in the big pots here and they did well. They didn't bolt, so I thought, oh, maybe the sets will do better in pots than in the ground around here, but obviously not this year. But we have got something, so that's good. So I'll just harvest a couple now on camera so you can see what they looked like. And I have to say they were quite deeply rooted in the compost. They didn't come out very easily. And towards the end I did even snap one of them. Spoiler alert there, I'm sorry. But what I did want to say was there was no sign of any allium leaf miner on them, which is partly why I grew them in pots up high. And also I didn't see any allium leaf miner on my garlic earlier either. I forgot to mention that. So far it's all looking clean, which is great. So yeah, here are the onions that I'll use up in cooking. So I'll get these all cleaned up, take off the roots and cut off some of the green long bolted bits, and I'll add these to the garlic harvest. But let me show you a couple more of my bolted onions and I'll talk you through those ones. So these are my other onions that have bolted. These are in the parsnip bed and I was given these by Danny from the Grow Up channel and they were meant to be ones that didn't bolt. But they're in this bed with my Elsa Craig that I sowed from seed, and you can see that the Elsa Craig is still going strong, whereas these ones are not. So we'll get these out as well and add them to the harvest. Ah well, win some, lose some. They'll still be used. So that's the onions picked, the garlic harvested, and the first potatoes picked. Let's have a look at the table and see the harvest in total. Here is the final garlic harvest, the new potatoes, the bolted onions, and then in here is the weekly, well, not weekly harvest because I'm picking berries every other day now, but we've got strawberries and raspberries in here. That gem lettuce that was in the garlic bed. Cut and come again lettuce. Peas, these are the first pick of peas. Beetroot. And these are the green tops that are bolted off here. I'm going to roast them up tonight and see what they taste like. And then that's the garlic from the beds and the garlic from the pots. Well, that harvest should keep us going for a little bit of time, shouldn't it? And funnily enough, I was very kindly asked by the lovely Annie from Annie's Kitchen and Garden to collab on her latest video about what I do with some of my harvests. So if you'd like to go and watch that video, which features a lot of great gardeners from YouTube, then you can find the link here. All I can say about the harvest today is lovely job and take care everybody.